A small town, just outside Nairobi, isn't exactly where you'd expect to find a world-class darts champion. It's a quiet town, more known for its sweeping hills and local markets than global sports headlines. Yet, this is where Peter Wachiuri's story begins. A carpenter by trade, a dreamer at heart, Peter has taken a sport long dominated by Europeans and stamped his name among the world's best. But how does a man with no fancy coaching, no international backing, and no legendary lineage in darts break through the glass ceiling of this sport? What obstacles stood in his way, and what kept him throwing those darts with unrelenting determination?
To win this contest. Double 12. What a performance of Peter Wachiuri. An average of 105.64 and a demolition of Charlie Manby.
It all started in Okalu, a small town in Kenya's Nyandarua County. It was the kind of place where dreams often felt distant. Raised by his mother and grandmother, Peter's childhood was humble, filled with the struggles of everyday life, struggles big enough to kill anyone's dream. It was so bad that basics like education were not always guaranteed. Food wasn't always abundant, and opportunities were scarce. Yet, even in those early years, Peter showed exceptional grit. But there's something else not many people know about the star player. Like several other players, he didn't start with darts. As a kid, he loved football, and just like so many kids across Africa, he dreamed of running on the pitch, scoring goals, and feeling the roar of the crowd. But fate had other plans. A devastating leg injury ended his football ambitions, a heartbreak no young boy is ready for. Where do you go when your biggest dream shatters? For Peter, it was Kongtown, where he moved in 2002 to start a new life. It wasn't so long after this that he learnt carpentry, a trade to keep food on the table. Darts wasn't on Peter's radar at first. That's because in Kenya, it was a niche sport, a game played mostly in pubs or quiet clubs by older men who had little expectation of international glory. But something striking happened one day. Peter wandered into one such club, just out of curiosity. There, amidst the buzz of chatter and the clink of glasses, he saw the dartboard, and something clicked. He picked up a dart and threw it. At that moment, Peter realized darts could be his new battlefield. But the question remained, could a carpenter from Ngong really make it big in a game dominated by Europeans? It wasn't an easy journey. In Kenya, darts was a niche sport, often confined to backroom pubs and overlooked by both media and sporting institutions. There was no clear path forward, no structured league, no big prize money. But Peter didn't let the lack of infrastructure stop him. He practiced, he obsessed, he became relentless. He wasn't a prodigy, he was a grinder, and slowly, word began to spread. Then came a milestone that shifted everything. In September 2024, Peter arrived at the African qualifier for the Professional Darts Corporation World Championship, ready to secure the prize. He made a strong start in the final, surging to a 3-1 lead and showcasing the talent that carried him through a competitive field. But South Africa's Cameron Carolison responded with 4 consecutive legs to take control. Refusing to back down, Peter battled back to level the match 5-5, and the two traded holds to force a dramatic last leg decider. In a moment that could have sealed a historic win, Peter Wachiuri narrowly missed a stunning 154 checkout, wiring double 17 with the crowd on edge. Carolison, on the other hand, held his nerve to hit double 8, sealing an 8-7 win and booking his second appearance at Alexandra Palace.
This would be amazing.
I'm lost of words right now, Devin. Can you hit that double 17?
Everybody, the world is looking at 34. Oh!
120.
What a moment.
What dots. What
a moment. And the man claps. And
what a humble person at the end of it. Great dots by him.
Wow.
Despite the narrow loss, Peter's impressive run, including victories over Carl Gabriel and Ocheng Patrick, confirmed one thing. He was heading to the UK. The Modus Super Series awaited once again, this time on an even grander stage. But that was just the beginning. As 2025 approached, news broke that he had signed a 3-year endorsement deal with Winmau, the world's largest manufacturer of professional dartboards and tungsten darts. It was a breakthrough not just for him, but for the entire East African darts scene. For a self-trained player from Ngong to land a deal with the same brand trusted by legends, it was surreal. The timing couldn't have been better. Peter's endorsement came just ahead of his return to the Modus Super Series in Portsmouth, UK. Only this time, he wouldn't be going alone. Representing the Buffaloes franchise in the African Darts Series League, Peter now had the backing of a global sponsor. Windmill provided him with 4 sets of pro-level darts and a world-class bristle dartboard, tools he once could only admire from afar. And yet, even in this moment of celebration, Peter remained humble and pragmatic. These were his exact words: "It is my first time getting such huge support. This equipment is not cheap, so I'm so happy. I can't wait to intensify my training in readiness for the tournament. I'm optimistic about doing well in Portsmouth." His voice steady with gratitude, but he also made it clear this wasn't the finish line. There were still travel costs, logistics, and visas to consider. For all the doors opening, the hustle hadn't stopped. What made this achievement resonate even more was what he had to overcome to get here. His invitation to the Super Series didn't come by chance. It was earned, dart by dart. Years went by until the big break finally came, a moment that would eventually announce him to the world. On the 25th day of February 2025, during the Modus Super Series weekly final, Peter faced off against Scott Campbell. The odds were stacked 33-1 against him. No one expected a player from Ngong, Kenya, to stand a chance. But Peter wasn't just there to participate, he was there to make history. Though he narrowly lost, the performance was electric. His presence on the oki had a rhythm, almost hypnotic. Fans were captivated by his bold style and contagious energy. Social media lit up.
Kenya's Peter Wachiuri has made history by qualifying for the prestigious Modus Darts Championship in England.
Wachiuri made his debut in the series and reached the finals of Series 10 weeks 6. Wachiuri became the talk of town as he played exceptionally.
Peter had become more than just a player. He was now a symbol of possibility. In Kenya, the reaction was just as powerful. Locals began calling him D17 after his iconic checkout move, or simply Wachiuri, spoken with pride. That performance in the Modus Super Series was more than a game. It was a breakthrough moment for African darts. Still, Peter knew one match wouldn't be enough. At the Sensera Cup, a major local tournament, he made his presence known again. He wasn't just there to show off his skills, he was there to send a message. Kenyan darts had arrived, and it was here to stay. With passion in his voice, Peter called on the Kenyan government to invest in darts from the primary school level. In Europe, this game is like a career. People earn from it, he said. Here in Kenya, we work part-time, which is wrong. He urged county leaders to support players and help build a sustainable darts ecosystem. We have hidden talents in this country, he added, and we need exposure to bring them to life. As the best darts player in Kenya, Peter's mission went beyond his own career. He played in more tournaments, mentored others, and carried the hopes of a budding community. The Sensera Cup itself was electric. Over 88 players, men and women, battled it out in its first ever edition in Mombasa. Winners emerged, trophies were claimed, but the real victory was for the sport itself. Darts in Kenya was officially on the rise, and Peter was leading the charge. Peter returned to the Modus Super Series in week 6 of Series 10, once again proving he belonged among the world's best. With calm precision and a fire in his eyes, he dominated Group C, racking up 13 wins, including hard-fought victories over respected names like Leonard Gates and Noah Lynn van Loven. It wasn't just about lifting a trophy, it was about showing the world that a player from Kenya could stand toe-to-toe with seasoned professionals, and he had done exactly that. It's true that Peter fought valiantly, but narrowly lost.
To survive, missed opportunities for Scott Campbell. This is for a breaker throw.
Game shot on the third leg, Peter Wachiuri.
You just sense, Matt, that you couldn't go through this game with just a routine 4-0 victory.
Yet the message was clear. A Kenyan Carpenter had just gone toe-to-toe with some of the world's best darts players. The global community took notice. He had crashed a party long closed to outsiders and made sure no one could ignore him. But with success came new challenges. Peter's rise disrupted the status quo. Some competitors questioned whether he could sustain the momentum. Was he just a one-time phenomenon? Meanwhile, juggling carpentry, family life, and international travel became increasingly difficult. The sacrifices piled up, missed family moments, financial strain, the pressure to perform. Yet Peter kept pushing. For him, this wasn't just a personal dream, it was destiny. The barriers he faced weren't only about funding or logistics. They were cultural, institutional, and sometimes unspoken. In early international tournaments, Peter was met with silence. No handshakes, cold shoulders. Looks that said, "Who is this guy?" These weren't just social slights, they were symbolic of the broader resistance faced by underrepresented athletes in elite sports. But Peter kept throwing. Today, his story resonates far beyond Kenya. Young men and women across Africa are now picking up darts with a renewed sense of purpose. Clubs are buzzing with activity, and institutions are starting to pay attention. Peter, ever generous, spends time mentoring the next generation, sharing his story, his techniques, and the mindset that got him here. With major tournaments coming up in August 2025, the anticipation around his next steps is building fast. Will he finally clinch that elusive championship? The world is watching. Behind the accolades and the rising fame is a man who has faced more than his share of rejection, doubt, and disappointment. Through it all, his family has remained his backbone, his mother, his wife, his children. In quiet moments, Peter has wrestled with despair, wondering if the cost was too high. But the dartboard always called him back because passion, once lit, refuses to go out. And so the question remains, what's next for Peter Wachiuri? Will his journey end in ultimate triumph, or will the relentless demands of elite competition take their toll? Whatever the outcome, Peter's story has already changed the game. It's a story of improbable beginnings, of fighting from the margins, of breaking into spaces not built for you. It's not just an underdog tale, it's a reminder that greatness often begins in the most unexpected places. That passion, persistence, and purpose can propel you far beyond what seems possible. And speaking of unexpected beginnings, what happens when a full-time electrician doesn't just chase the Oki spotlight, but actually beats the pros at their own game? In our next story, discover how one man's day job turned into a shocking rise through the darts world, proving that sometimes the biggest upsets come from the most grounded places.